and welcome back to British English with me, Ali. In today's lesson, I'm going to be reading you an excerpt from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Now, I'm quite sure that you have heard of Harry Potter and perhaps even read the book in English or in your own language. Today, I'm going to be reading a short part of this book so that you can listen to the pronunciation and perhaps even practice yourself. I will put the words on the screen and also include a link to this excerpt in the description box below, so do check that out and perhaps read with me. So let's begin. Nearly 10 years had passed since the Dursleys had woken up to find their nephew on their front step. But Privet Drive had hardly changed at all. The sun rose on the same tidy front gardens and lit up the brass number 4 on the Dursleys' front door. It crept into their living room, which was almost exactly the same as it had been on the night when Mr. Dursley had seen that fateful news report about the owls. Only the photographs on the mantelpiece really showed how much time had passed. 10 years ago, there had been lots of pictures of what looked like a large pink beach ball wearing different coloured bonnets. But Dudley Dursley was no longer a baby, and now the photographs showed a large blonde boy riding his first bicycle, on a carousel at the fair, playing a computer game with his father, being hugged and kissed by his mother. The room held no sign at all that another boy lived in the house too. Yet Harry Potter was still there, asleep at the moment, but not for long. His Aunt Petunia was awake, and it was her shrill voice that made the first noise of the day. Up! Get up now! Harry woke with a start. His aunt rapped on the door again. Up! She shrieked. Harry heard her walking toward the kitchen, and then the sound of the frying pan being put on the stove. He rolled onto his back and tried to remember the dream he had been having. It had been a good one. There had been a flying motorcycle in it. He had a funny feeling he'd had the same dream before. His aunt was back outside the door. Are you up yet? She demanded. Nearly, said Harry. Well, get a move on. I want you to look after the bacon. And don't you dare let it burn. I want everything perfect on Duddy's birthday. Harry groaned. Oh, what did you say? His aunt snapped through the door. Nothing, nothing. Okay, so I hope that that was a good speed for you. I'm going to just cover a few of the perhaps strange or different words, and also give some tips when you're reading either in your head or out loud. The first tip would be that any punctuation is an opportunity to pause. A comma is basically just a written pause, so do make sure that you pause at such intervals. And sometimes by pausing more frequently, you are able to keep a better pace of reading. If you just keep reading and like nobody understands, and you will overwhelm yourself. So do take time and enjoy the story that you're reading or the information that you're reading. You may have noticed that when the character spoke, I changed my voice just to make it more entertaining. And similarly, the way that each character speaks, depending on their emotion, also makes the sound change. So we can see that instead of just using she said, he said over and over again, J.K. Rowling makes use of various ways of expressing a sound when someone speaks. For example, when Harry and Aunt Petunia are talking, Aunt Petunia screeches, and this sound is similar to that when a car is trying to suddenly slow down and the tyre screeches on the floor. It's almost an unbearable, uncomfortable, high-pitched sound. So this is a really appropriate word for explaining how Aunt Petunia sounds. As Harry is peacefully sleeping, there's this horrible screeching sound. Up, she says, or she screeched. Similarly, she snapped through the door. It's sharp and not friendly, and we're really understanding the relationship between Aunt Petunia and Harry through this very short excerpt already. Tidy is a very, very useful word. I think this is predominantly British English, and it means to be neat. Rather than being clean, tidy means that things are put in an appropriate place. A mantelpiece is an almost shelf-like platform above a fireplace. In Britain, it's very, very common for older houses to have a fireplace, even if they're not always used. Personally, in my family home, we do have a fireplace, but we actually never ever use the fire. The room held no sign at all that another boy lived in the house too. To hold something is to carry it in your hand, so you can hold a baby or hold a bag. But in this situation, the room held no sign at all. It's a way of expressing that the room showed or signified nothing about there being another boy in the house. And of course, this is because Dudley is far prioritized and almost worshipped by his parents, whilst Harry is sleeping in a broom cupboard under the stairs and is pretty neglected. 10 years ago, there had been lots of pictures of what looked like a large pink beach ball wearing different coloured bonnets. Of course, this large pink beach ball is just a description of Dudley Dursley, who is a large boy and clearly was a large pink baby as well. When we are reading descriptions of something, such as a large pink beach ball, we can leave a little rest between each of these descriptive words. So a large pink beach ball. The reason that it's not beach ball is because a beach ball is a type of ball. So this is a noun in itself. So a large pink beach ball. A bonnet is one way of referring to a hat. It's a type of hat which is usually reserved either for small babies with a sort of frilly look to it, or was commonly used in the Victorian times and isn't so commonly worn now. Well, thank you so much for joining this lesson today. I hope that it helped, and I would love to know any thoughts on this style of video. If it's helpful, if the pace is right, any feedback that you can provide me with, I'd be extremely grateful. Until next time, bye-bye.